we come from very different worlds. And shortly after we got married, that became very apparent. And so we started couples therapy and it changed everything. I remember my mom being like, already? Oh no, is everything okay? And I was like, no, we don't speak the same language. Like we really need to create that foundation now for unlearning shitty habits in 20 years. And then there's the resentment.
It's been a lot of work. It's been a lot of work, but it's been really rewarding work in the sense that I think it makes our lives easier.
So much easier. Oh my God, it's so much easier to have like a happy, strong, communicating marriage. Like the sitcoms in the 90s got it all wrong. Like, why was everyone fighting? This is actually so great.
It's a lot better.
Didn't know that I didn't know it could be this good.
So do you have a description of the pattern you would like to see change?
Yeah, we were talking about this the other day with Jackie.
We know our path.
We know, unfortunately, that's what makes it feel like sneaking a cookie out of the cookie jar when you shouldn't. I think we're really good at communicating with each other. Mike's my best friend, and as that, it's his responsibility to hold me accountable in a way. That's one of like the conditions of our relationship. I always say like you would never let me go out on stage and embarrass myself. Each stage, that's our relationship, work, our friendships. So we're really open with giving each other that feedback. But I think with that feedback, we also so deeply care about each other that sometimes we try and get in front of it and we try and address the emotion, which is really important. But then from my perspective, I can see that as, negating responsibility.
So you would confront Mike with blah, blah, blah. And Mike would go, yeah, I did it. What I was feeling was blah, blah, blah. And you're back there going, I wish you would just land on, yeah, I did it without the explanation. Did I get that right?
That's why, yeah, that's very well said.
Pretty close. I was raised by a people pleaser, and I have been fighting these past couple of years a lot of baked in people pleasing tendencies. And I think early on, I would do a lot of attempting to manage her emotions either before I communicate or during. And so, if I had a message that I anticipated a high reaction to, or, very conflict adverse, my anxiety would make me try to get ahead of it. Just be like, well, okay, yeah, I did that, but this is why it's not bad.
Making her excuses for her before you even get it out of your mouth.
I'm like, stop. Like, I took the shovel away. Like, stop digging. It doesn't have to be like this. When you wish you could like really get in there and like write the script for them. It's like, this is how you would succeed for me in this moment. But also the way he's feeling in those justifications, I understand are fair. And usually after the fact, I'm ready to listen to them. But in the moment, and it's not like I want you to sit in the suck or like put your face in it. I just sometimes, for me personally, I'm like, let's just take the accountability and then go forward with it. And I think that starts to kick off a cycle.
And what do you each want to be more accountable about? And that if each of you were that, how would it change your relationship?
I would like to be comfortable disappointing her or comfortable upsetting her, so long as, there is no sacrificing the truth. Not that I've ever, we've never lied, but massaging the truth. If I can just be comfortable with the truth and comfortable with her large emotions.
Mike calls me passionate.
Passionate, yeah.
Which is a nice, very kind way of calling me a hothead, which is true. That's my own fault. And that's something I've relearned specifically since we got married. That was, what I was raised with. You get big and loud and then you're taken seriously. So I want him to feel that safe space. I totally understand based on our especially early days in history of, oh my God, I'm going to tell her this and she's going to be pissed and I'm going to have to deal with her being pissed. I already dealt with the thing. Let me now deal with her emotions. And he's right. There have been times that we've kind of buried the lead with each other because we're concerned of that fallout. It feels a little sneaky sometimes. And then I think that kicks off a cycle of, at least for me personally, like, okay, now you have no credibility in what you're saying because it feels a little rose-colored glasses. It feels like we're spinning it in a positive way. And it felt like I wasn't allowed to make my own judgments on.
I mean, Liz, you said it. In my family, you had to get really big and loud and then you'd be listened to. So they trained you that that's the way to get through to somebody. And of course, it's the opposite. And Mike, you're a people pleaser. You're regulating her, you're managing her. You did that as a kid growing up too? You were regulating somebody?
Yes. Yes, my father. He was an addict. He just passed away a couple years ago. But yes, since a very young age. Only child.
What were you regulating? He was angry? He was volatile?
All over the place. Yeah. Angry, volatile, sloppy, dangerous.
So I'm trying to find where the ouch is. Is it when you have to share something that you're worried the other person is going to get upset about? Or is the ouch that you've shared it and there's a reaction and you can't get to resolution? Can you give us an example, something more concrete, so we can hear how it goes?
Before we moved, we got a new car. Living in Boston, you don't want to get a new car because it all drives well. So it was really exciting for us. We upgraded from your college 2009.
14 years into the future. It's like driving a spaceship.
So we save up all our money. We buy this car. We don't have a loan. We're so proud of ourselves. We knew we were going to be moving, so we got a hybrid. So it's really this like big responsibility we have. One night I get home and he's like, "How was your day?" I was like, "Oh, okay. Why? What happened?" And he was like, "So I was coming home and we lived right near TD Garden, which if you've been in the area, it's a traffic nightmare.
Yeah.
It's really awful. We don't miss it at all." And he was like, "I was at this light and then I was just trying to get around because, I'm just trying to get in the garage." And long story short, he thought he had enough room to get around someone and he sideswiped them. They filed an insurance claim. Do I think it was selfish that they filed an insurance claim? And if you're watching this, I stand by that. Yeah.
It was zero.
But
Zero.
they had every right to. And so, but it was such a spin that when the insurance agency called, I answered, and the statement I gave wasn't valid because it was based on what he said with the benefit of the doubt. So when they put my statement next to the statement of the other driver, it didn't look great. And, I'm scared of long-term consequences from that. Like, oh my God, what if our insurance policy drops us? I don't even know if that's possible, but thinking of what we can control versus what we can't. And so that was an example of like, I want to show up for you. I want to be in your corner. I want to be able to have your back, but I need to know all the facts. I can't just know like how you want me to feel about it. I need to know actually what happened so that I can help you.
Okay, so when you felt like you weren't giving a straight story, what was your reaction?
I was more upset about the storytelling than the actual car. Like, yeah, it was stupid, but I understand. You came home, you had a 45-minute commute. Again, Bullfinch Triangle is awful to drive through.
45 minutes too. That's very, very generous.
Yeah, like I understand the red he was seeing.
So Liz, you're a hothead. When your hothead comes out, what does that look and sound like?
Sounds a little louder. And it looks a little intolerant. And I want to get to a space where I can catch myself in that moment, but I'm not there yet. And so oftentimes it looks like being really upset and then taking space. And I can see as that closing off communication to him and not being fair. I'm trying to problem solve in the way that it was problem solved when I grew up and get to that state of what I'm familiar with of, okay, this is what we're dealing with. And I think it can be a little harsh. So I think that frustration of like, you're not hearing me, I'm trying to help us, but I'm confused because obviously I'm not helping. And so instead of saying, I'm not helping, how can I help better? I just get frustrated out loud at both of us.
And when she comes at you like that, Mike, what do?
I recoil. I'm super conflict adverse. A lot of my contributing to the problem is trying to get ahead of the problem and making it worse. But that big reaction, I go to great lengths to avoid it.
We know each other really well. Too well, almost. That's why we get frustrated. Like, I'll be like, I know when you're not being honest. Just like when I'm not being honest. So I think it's now I've seen what this could do, and I just want to prevent it.
Is there a minimization that goes on when you're sharing something and that it's not true, that there has to be something more?
Hey, Mike,
Yeah.
don't minimize when you answer that question.
Thanks, Terry.
Yes. The answer is yes. You already said it.
Yes.
Like the car accident, you minimize.
Yeah. Yeah, that's fair. Most of our fights would be, she has a conclusion that solicits a reaction, and my immediate, because I wanted to keep the peace, my immediate reaction is to debunk why she would be upset. I've learned that that's not the right approach.
But it's like the word debunk.
It's like, because it's like, if you only knew this one component, then the whole reason you're mad doesn't stand up.
And the whole time I'm like, let it go. I don't care this shiny thing that you're trying to put in front of me. Get it out of the way so I can see the shit that happened.
Yeah. I have a question for you, Mike. What goes on inside of you when your efforts to calm her the hell down don't work? She's upset. You can't do anything about it. What goes on inside of you in those moments?
It triggers like major anxiety, I think, and that's what makes me all squirrely and appear even worse than, I could be telling the 100% truth, but if the reaction wasn't what I was anticipating, then that reaction activates me, and then my anxiety activates her because she feels I'm not being honest or genuine, and that's really where the cycle, I would say, it is. It's really, we feed off of each other.
Where do you want to go?
Go ahead.
Yeah?
Yeah.
You want me to talk to you or them?
What would you prefer?
I'm going to talk to you.
Ooh, that sounds nice.
All right. You guys just listen. We're at the water cooler talking about you, so you get to listen to your therapist talk about you.
I love gossip. Let's go.
So, adapt your children. She's a fighter. He's a fixer. She's this is so classic hetero woman. It's what Paul Václavic called more of the same, wrong solution. Can you hear me now? Well, what about now? What about now? Oh, what about now? Then she learned this in her family. Dial up the volume to get through to somebody. So she's trying to get through to him, get the truth out of him so they can deal with it together. But she keeps upping the volume. I mean, the more she ups the volume, the more he goes into regulating her or avoiding it.
And she keeps thinking he's not telling her the truth.
Well, he isn't. He's managing her. I have a saying, an angry woman is usually a woman who doesn't feel heard. So she keeps trying to get through, and he keeps trying to placate her, chill her, avoid it. And that's the cycle. The more she gets intense, the more he mollifies and avoids. The more he mollifies and avoids, the more she gets intense.
I haven't heard that so much from her. I hear that you want to, this is what I make up, that you want to create a space that he feels safe to tell you the truth, but what you're doing doesn't create space for him. And he starts shifting the truth even more to avoid getting you upset. Is that true?
Yeah, I would say that. I also think I'm very sensitive to full validity. I don't think I learned to be honest with myself and others until my mid-20s, until I met Mike. And so I struggle with trusting myself, but also, and not coming from a lot of money, we always had to figure it out. We always had to handle it. No one had your back like you had your own back. So I think sometimes I'm coming to him and I'm like, I want to figure it out. I want to protect us. I want to take care of it. I don't want worst case scenario, but I need to know the full truth and nothing but the truth. I think that's where some of that me pressing down on him comes from, but can totally see how that just makes him want to give me the right answer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like why you can't trust testimony from someone who's being tortured. They'll just say whatever they can to get you off their back.
Yes.
So it actually has the opposite effect of what you want. He starts throwing you more red meat instead of telling you the truth. And the more escalated you get, the more he tap dances. When she's elevated, that's exactly what you're afraid of.
Is there elevation?
It would be less frightening for you if she would just calm the hell down.
And I would calm the hell down if he would stop this marketing spin and just tell me I got pissed off and I sideswiped the car.
That's the dance. He tap dances for fear of your escalation. You escalate when you see him tap dancing instead of telling you the truth.
Yeah, it usually gets to a space. Like I said, I need to take space. I need to cool down. Once I see red, like, and that's not because I don't want to hear what you have to say, but you deserve my respect. And at that point, I'm just like in my own little world of intolerance. But I also take that space in hopes that he'll have that same reflection.
Do you do it as a time out in which both of you can recalibrate to what you would like to be to have the conversation?
Yeah, it's never a I'm leaving and never coming back. It's always like I need 5, I need 10. We used to go a day, 2 days without talking, and that's obviously not good, but I don't think we knew how to come back together. And now it's really just kind of that reset of your nervous system, whatever it may be, whether we go for a walk or play with the dog or even just separate rooms. We're so excited to be in this house. Our last apartment was a loft. We had
No laws.
and every end deserves walls.
I have some very specific skills for each of you. First of all, Liz, I love taking a break. I love that you let him know how long it's going to be and calming the hell down, getting yourself regulated, and then coming back in a more moderate space. And I would like you to do that ongoing. If you start to get elevated again, time for another break. I'll be back in 5. So you take responsibility to try and stay more regulated. Mike, your job is what I call let the bad thing happen. You're a control freak. You needed to control your parents because they were out of control. And my guess is your dad in his addiction was out of control with his volatility. And I also make up that you may have been very sensitively tuned into your mother's sadness. If it's hard to see her angry, it's even harder to see her sad. Did I get that right?
Yeah. She was never angry. I always like we never had conflict really growing up.
Yeah, but you're a sweet boy and your mom was sad and you felt that. And you had to be good because you didn't want to disappoint her more than her life had already disappointed her. So I think you get freaked out at an angry woman. I think you get freaked out at a sad woman. What's that like to hear?
I think you're correct. I don't like either of those kinds of women.
And I'm both.
Well, he's lucky. You got a lot of feeling. So your job, and by the way, I would love to see you go to Al-Anon or Adult Children of Alcoholics. You are the adult child of an addict. And there are wonderful groups with
I could help that.
wisdom and fellowship that has stuff to teach you. And what it has to teach you is exactly this. Stop regulating everybody. You had to as a kid, but you don't have to now. And you have to deal with that little boy inside that's so terrified and let her be dysregulated a little. She'll come back. When you're traumatized, you don't get moderation. If she gets mad at you, you're that little boy in all hell's, and all hell isn't breaking loose. It's just that your wife is mad at you for the moment. So I would like to see you go to 12-step and get some company and help learning how to tolerate. She can be upset, she can be angry, she can be sad, and you're not with your brokenhearted mother and you're not with your out of control father, and the world won't end. You don't have to work so hard to be so regulating.
It's boundary work. It's about recognizing that you can take care of yourself in the face of somebody being upset, and you don't have to pretzel yourself into a formation in order to help them get there. If your partner is dysregulated, what you want to say is, right now I'm having a hard time listening to you, hearing what you want me to know, because I'm reacting to the tone or the delivery. Could you, for me, try to do this, try to speak differently about this so I can hear you and we can resolve this differently? And that's boundary work. That's about recognizing what she's saying is more her truth about herself than any truth about you. She doesn't know who you are in that way because the only person that is expert about themselves is herself. You know what you're feeling. You know what you need. And this is a lovely woman. And you can tell her that. And I don't think she's going to fracture. I think she's going to be happy.
I love that. Here's what it sounds like. Here's a short version of what Belinda said. I want to hear what you're saying, honey. Could you tone it down so I could hear it? How would you say it?
I would say, I really want to know what it is you're saying. I really want us to get through this. When you speak in a certain tone, I have a hard time receiving the message. For me, can you change that tone so that I can hear you better and get you more of what you want?
Love it. Love it. And Liz, maybe you can and maybe you can't in that moment. And if you can, take a breath or 10, bring it down. And if you can't, okay, give me 5 minutes.
No, I love that you say this because in the heat of the moment when oftentimes he's like, well, you get to say your piece and then you get to call timeout. I think it makes him feel so disarmed. And like, you have every right to have those boundaries as well. And your boundaries look different. I'm a little jealous of Mike. He can really talk about anything and stay very calm, cool, and collected. He works in HR. It's his job. As we've addressed, I'm all over the place. And so sometimes I get so in it. Like, I wish I could just stay here and sit still with you, but I can't. And so I need my boundaries, but you need yours based on mine as well. And I want you to have those. I think that would make you feel like I'm not driving our conversations and our arguments. Like, it's a tandem bike. We get to do it together. And I want to.
Yeah.
And I want you to hold me accountable in that way because it's such like a bad, mindless habit I have with getting out of it because it was so normalized to me that sometimes I truly don't realize the level I'm at or the emotion I'm at until I see your reaction. And so sometimes it makes me feel like a monster if I'm suddenly so angry. And so I want us to meet each other there first. Thank you for that. I love that you just gave him a tool. It's going to make it feel so much more equal and not one of us has kind of a safety net or a handicap and the other just has to deal with it because that's not how it is at all.
We're all handicapped. We are. We all come from places that didn't provide us a roadmap how to do this in a healthy way. So we adapt to what we're learning. We say we're not going to be like them, but we are like them in a different version that we think is more palatable, but it's not.
Well, I say we all marry people who are enough like what we grew up with that we get thrown into the old soup, but they have other resources as a rule that our family didn't have. Not that they're born doing it differently and, oh my God, you get what you never got. No, you get just what you got, a version of it. You're absolutely right. But once you're in it, if you don't like go into your adaptive child and tap dance, but lean in softly and say, sweetheart, let's calm this down so I can really be more honest with you. I want to be more honest with you. You see, if you said that to your mom, she would act like she had no idea what you were talking about. If you said that with your dad, he'd escalate. But if you say that to her, not always, but more often than not, she'll take a breath or a timeout and go, okay, happy to do it. And that is healing for both of you. That's the way out of this. So my wish for you would be that you've worked so hard and you've moved the ball up the field. I would like to see you continue to work with an RLT therapist for a little bit and deal with these adaptive children to get in your way and break out of this pattern definitively. You're a terrified, wounded child that's so scared when she gets dysregulated, and the adaptive child that comes in to chill it all out. I'd like you to turn and do some inner child work with those two, and also with your fighter.
Well, it sounds to me like you haven't felt seen. And when you don't feel seen, you get louder.
Because how could you ignore me if I'm at a volume of 100?
It's pretty hard to ignore.
Yeah. But that doesn't work.
No.
It might work initially because it's shocking. But after that, it doesn't share who you are.
So I'd like to see you do some work with that little fighter girl. You come by her honestly, and I'd like to see you take her hand and go, I got this. I can do this in a more moderate way than you. You're right. We are being lied to, but let me handle it. You can't handle it.
I even question how much not telling the truth is? Is it that you're just padding the story, but you're telling the story, you're just putting a little softness in it? And if that's the truth, that you're just putting softness in it, then let's say to yourself, I can tell this story without putting softness in it, and I can be caring as I share it.
Okay, well, that's what we got for you. Final thoughts from you. How'd we do? Final thought from you, Liz and Mike?
Thank you so much.
Absolutely.
It was so great to meet you both, and
So cool.
truly so impressed. I was nervous to come into this, and it's just been wonderful talking to you both, and thank you.
What from hearing your voice on an airplane, listening to your book to again to meet you.
We were on a really long flight to Asia when we were
13
listening to the
hours.
book, and he would get up, he'd be like, chapter 3, that's you. And then Dawn, he'd be like, ooh, chapter 4, that's me. That's me.
Oh, well, there you go. I'd like each of you to say one thing that you learned in this conversation and one thing that you're going to place to work on.
I'm a visual person, and so when I imagine myself yelling, I imagine almost like a cartoon of the wind is so strong it's peeling off the layers. And that's what I want to do when I'm trying to get it out of Mike, but I'm just taking away from him. And that harsh wind, that strong blow, like that's not helpful here. I need to turn that down so that he can approach me. And I've never thought of it like that.
Well, he doesn't see you when you get that harsh. And it's the thing that you're most hurt by, that you didn't get seen as a child to get what you needed. So what you're doing is replicating the behavior that's preventing Mike from seeing you.
And Mike, one thing you learned and one thing you want to work on.
This conversation was more reinforcement of the traumas that make us, I guess, and having the trust in our relationship that I can say the thing, that it will be okay, that if we take a break, for 10 minutes, it's not the end of the world. It will only help the situation. I feel empowered to continue building on the success that we have. This constant work, I think.
Beautiful. Stay in touch, drop a line, and let us know how it goes.